So friends, on today's episode of Donald Trump's sprint toward autocracy, he just had his Department of Justice sue all federal district judges in Maryland for trying to put a 2-day pause on Trump's unconstitutional deportations of immigrants. Friends, no words, but let's try to find some and talk about it. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, the Trump administration has been playing this game. Snatch up immigrants and deport them before they can file something in court asserting their constitutional due process rights of notice and opportunity to be heard. So to try to deal with this sort of chronic unconstitutional conduct of Trump and company, the federal judges in Maryland instituted a 2-day pause, a 2-day preliminary injunction to try to deal with this unconstitutional game Trump has been playing. So what did the Department of Justice just do? This from the Democracy docket. Headline, DOJ sues every federal district judge in Maryland challenging due process rights. And that article begins, President Donald Trump's Department of Justice Tuesday sued every federal district judge in Maryland to challenge a standing court order that temporarily bars the government, the DOJ, the Trump administration, from deporting people after they have filed a challenge. The DOJ suing an entire bench, federal bench, all federal court judges in a particular jurisdiction is extremely rare. Some legal experts said they have never seen such a lawsuit before. The move marks the Trump administration's latest escalation in its attempt to undermine federal courts and erode due process protections. The U.S. District Court of Maryland's order, issued last month, initiated an automatic 2-day stay on habeas corpus challenges in part to preserve the status quo and ensure petitioners are able to participate in proceedings and access legal counsel. In its complaint, the DOJ characterized the order as a particularly egregious example of judicial overreach, interfering with executive branch prerogatives. The DOJ claimed the standing order has prevented federal immigration authorities from enforcing immigration law. Actually, it's prevented immigration authorities from violating the due process rights of individuals they are snatching up. My editorial edition. It, the Department of Justice, asked the same court it is suing to declare the order unlawful and issue an injunction blocking the judges from enforcing it. Though the department filed the lawsuit in the District Court of Maryland, the DOJ asked all of its judges to recuse themselves from the case and that a judge from another district hear the case. All judges with the District Court of Maryland were named as defendants because they all must approve before standing court orders are issued. Defendants include Judge Paul Asines, the judge presiding over Kilmar Abrego Garcia's lawsuit challenging his wrongful removal from the U.S. and imprisonment in El Salvador earlier this year. Legal scholars said that the DOJ's lawsuit raises concerns over the protections judges have from lawsuits over their official acts, such as issuing orders in cases. Adam Bonica, a professor of political science at Stanford, noted that the DOJ is, in essence, arguing that judicial review inflicts irreparable harm on the government. the Trump administration. Okay, friends, now, perhaps against my better judgment, I'm going to read just a few sentences of this DOJ brief in the lawsuit it filed against all of the federal district court judges in Maryland. But full disclosure, I'm going to do a little editorializing along the way. In the case of the United States of America and the United States Department of Homeland Security plaintiffs against all of the federal district court judges in Maryland, defendants, in recent months and years, district courts have used and abused their equitable powers to interfere with the prerogatives of the executive branch to an unprecedented degree. Kind of sounds more like an unhinged 2 a.m. Trump post, without the misspellings and grammatical errors than it does a legal brief in federal court. In the first 100 days of President Trump's current term, district courts have entered more nationwide injunctions than in the 100 years from 1900 to 2000. Why? Because in the first 100 days of President Trump's term, he has done more unlawful and unconstitutional shit than any president in the last 100 years, probably more than all presidents combined. This lawsuit involves yet another regrettable example of the unlawful use of equitable powers to restrain the executive. Specifically, defendants have instituted an avowedly automatic injunction against the federal government issued outside the context of any particular case or controversy by promulgating a standing order that requires the court clerk to automatically enter an injunction against removing or changing the legal status of any alien detained in Maryland who files a habeas petition. So friends, can I translate that from legalese to English? Essentially, the federal judges in Maryland are putting in place a 2-day pause because Donald Trump's executive branch has been consistently violating the due process rights of immigrants. Now, I'm not going to read any more of this DOJ lawsuit, right, in Donald Trump's sprint toward autocracy. But this is nothing more than an attempt to undermine the authority of the federal judiciary and to continue to be able to violate the due process rights of notice and opportunity to be heard by everyone, including immigrants. And, this lawsuit should just be filed in the circular file where it belongs. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.